Already left it, yeah? You know, my brats here, I bet you ain't even when you quit phone. It war and I ain't. Yeah. Royal Majesty. Waya botao ni German raw waya lamugu. Today I just got back from Port Harcourt less than an hour ago. All hell killing me, I aware by now. But since Obaseki will be off him, I will give me your heart. I remembered before now, I talked about that it just doesn't know how to step down. It is not in its place. I told you people in the last live video I did that we are going to relax and watch him. I thought maybe by around November, December. Oh, now the baby the bill jam. My honeymoon. Okay, my hand there be bewoto. My way there we say 1 month. Why we can go again have there on the Ogiamia issue. Or with the baby the bill jam. So we are going to discuss about. We're not going to play. I don't like playing sentiment around what concerns. Like I've always said, I don't have business with government, whether state or federal. I don't have business with government, whether state or federal, at whatever level. I don't engage myself in the pettiness of politics. I don't get muddled up I can't politics. But I've always sworn that the only time that Izoduwa will be heard speaking against political office holders is only when they cross the boundary of discussing or trying to undermine the ancient institution of the Oba of Benin. That is the only time I will ever talk or discuss anything that has to do with politics or government. He has crossed the line again, and he tried, like in his own usual mannerism, he always finds ways to emotionally blackmail the people into submitting into his cunning style. And I'm going to debunk all of those emotional sentiments you usually play on Edo people. He spoke a lot about things. I don't usually listen to government officials when they speak, but I had to take a keen interest in listening. He spoke about the ancient civilization of the Benin people. He spoke about him not having issues with the Oba of Benin. He spoke about that the artifact will bring a lot of tourism. The museum is going to bring a lot of tourism and all of that. We're going to go through all of them, but let it be very clear to you all. I promise you, he's not going to win this war. He won't win, but he won't relent either. After he loses this, he's going to come up with another one. The point is this: it's not a rumor. When you collect something from the Europeans, having assured them that you are going to provide so things, when you go to meet the white people and say that, well, I'm going to build museum and it's going to house the artifact, they are going to give you money because it's a novel idea. Then when you fail to meet up with what you promised, then you now begin to have problems with European authorities. This is a clear case. Why is he still fighting tooth and nail to get those artifacts, knowing fully where he has lost? Because Origone, where Digoi, we believe that there is more than how do I put it? Like I said, when you collect something from the Europeans, promising them that you're going to construct something and you fail to do that, they will ask for their refund. And that is the case. Refund is being asked for. He has to find all ways to ensure that those artifacts get to him. 1897 is a very bitter experience. I wasn't born then. My grandfather was born in the year 1925. So obviously, my father wasn't born then either. So my great-grandfather would have been alive at that time. He certainly was alive. Imasuen. But from the story that we were told by all who was alive at that time, who experienced that unfortunate episode of the British invasion in 1897, it is a bitter pill and a bitter experience that Edo people don't want to experience anymore. Our women were raped. Our daughters were raped. Our mothers were killed. Our fathers were slaughtered. The ancient civilization that was built by our ancestors was completely burnt down by the imperial onslaught of these British invaders. Prior, before they invaded us, they had estimated the worth of our treasure, of our priceless artifact. And they knew that it was going to be a win-win situation for them. Defeat these people, steal all of these their properties, and you're going to, in future, make several billions out of it. In the topmost part of all of these conspiracy against our land and people, our Oba of Oramen was humiliated. I was deposed. Obaseki's father, Godwin Obaseki's father, was not humiliated. He wasn't humiliated. He wasn't deposed. The Oba of Benin was humiliated and he was deposed. I want people to get this thing very clearly. While our Obaseki strived in the firmament of such unfortunate episode, the royal house had to go through that kind of humiliation that was never. It is a painful experience. It is a painful experience. While some families benefited from that, the chief beneficiary of that war was the Obaseki's family. And the people who were the most disadvantaged of that unfortunate episode was the royal family. I want people to understand these two things. One benefited from the war, and one totally lost from the war. Don't forget, Oba Obarame is the last independent Oba of Benin. He's right. Everything that makes him the god king of the Edo land was stripped away from him. All that he was, his history was scattered away. His spirituality was humiliated by these same British. While such humiliation was ongoing, the other family benefited so much from the humiliation of the royal family. 125 or 26 or 27 years. Someone can help me calculate it later. That same family is also bent again by one of his descendants to humiliate or undermine the same royal family that was at the receiving end during the British invasion in 1897. This is a common knowledge. This is a common knowledge that is verifiable. I heard some people were saying that it is wrong that our Obaseki was not part of the grand conspiracy against the royal house, or was not trying to install himself as the Oba of Benin. If anybody dare says that, I'll bring proofs. I'll bring 5 historical proofs. But for the sake of, I don't want to say everything, I'd like to say one, Okpa, so that people will know that some of us, we are well groomed and grounded. We are well groomed and grounded in the history of our land. I like to read from a book, so that it doesn't mean that I'm quoting. I like to read from a book, so that doesn't mean I'm quoting what I wasn't told. Dorenuma. Someone asked whether I'm the spokesman of the Oba of the palace. I'm not the spokesman. Izoduwa speaks for himself. Dorenuma. Let me read from the works of Dorenuma. Yeah, that's a Kabbalah. Like what Basimi AI 84 to 86. Let me check 84 to 86. Okay. I'm going to read from this book, published by my mentor, Dr. Isee. The title of the book is called The Benin City Pilgrimage Stations. I'm going to be reading from page 84 to 85. I like to buttress my point so that people don't see I speak verbatim. So that people doesn't think I speak verbatim. Reading from the paragraph, it says the principle has only once been seriously challenged in Benin since the last 300 years. This happened during the colonial era. The effort, which was quite determined, was a clear departure from and an attempted repudiation of the Ewakbe's enactment. It was hashed and promoted by the British colonial resident of Benin province, Mr. James Watt, when he unsuccessfully pushed and at first reticent Chief Obaseki candidature forward for the Benin throne and the demise of Oba in Nelson in Calabar early in 1914. The reasoning was that the colonial residents of the sister province of Warri had his Chief Dohonuma, the fulcrum on which the native administration of Warri province turned out at the time. James Watt in turn desired to retain his own Dohonuma of Benin province in the person of Chief Ago, the Obaseki of Benin, in the administration of the native affairs of Benin province. It is true that Chief Dohonuma, the Shekiri chief, who was so important in the running of the native aspect of the administration of Warri province during the first 3 decades of colonialism in Nigeria, and who died in 1932, played some role in the resolution of the succession struggle for the Benin throne in 1914 between the Crown Prince Agobasi and Chief Agbo. So let nobody deceive anybody. Chief Agbo wanted to be the Oba of Benin. I'll go forward and read. Alright? The Obaseki, but his role was peripheral and dispensable because a firm decision on the matter had already been taken before Doho arrived on the scene. Chief Doho Numan arrived in Benin probably during the first half of April 1914 through Saple, the Benin-Saple Road, which construction had been embarked upon by the new Lagos government in place of the more ambitious and development-oriented Benin-Warri railway line. Sorry, I'm trying to read it. Okay. It was the chief second. No, okay. I'll just fast forward. I don't want to read. I don't want to read so much. Going to page 85. Going to page 85. Doe entered the soot-blackened city with its roofless houses in the company of the British military supply column and of some British newspaper men, war correspondents from Britain who had arrived too late in the theatre of war to report to the world the actual fighting for the city. The war correspondent late arrival was unfortunate for the Edos, as the only available written account of the campaign have come from the hands of those who were themselves combatants in the fighting. The story of the Edo war effort has therefore not been independently known or told. Now listen very attentively. Alright? Listen attentively. When I will answer all of your questions if I have time. Well, why was the 2 daughters of all of that? I will answer all of that. When Doe arrived in Benin 17 years later, listen very well. When Doe arrived in Benin 17 years later for his second visit on account of the dispute surrounding the succession to the Benin throne, Chief Obaseki sent him a bribe of 200 pounds sterling. Listen very well. When Doe arrived in Benin 17 years later for his second visit on account of the dispute surrounding the succession to the Benin throne, Chief Obaseki sent him a bribe of 200 pounds sterling. You can go ahead and get this book, or you can go to the account of Chief Doho Numan, the warrant chief of the Warri province. Now, let nobody tell you this. Let nobody say that he wasn't interested. He wasn't interested in usurping the throne of the Oba of Benin. And today, one of his sons is doing almost similar existence. What we have said, I want to categorically say it clearly. I don't like to talk about this history, not that we don't have superior argument to present. But I don't like, but he's pushing us to the very extreme. And every Edo man cannot afford to be quiet in the concept of his bringing development at the detriment of our history, at the detriment of our self-consciousness as an Edo man and an Edo woman. Not everybody is under his payroll, so not everybody he can control. Not everybody he can silence. These things we say are verifiable, authentic, and truth. If anybody wishes to have a debate with me and say that I will never wanted to betray the royal palace of the Oba of Benin in 1914, should come out. Should come out. We have more than enough documented history that proves so. So if about 120 something years later or so, one of his progeny came out and trying to reawaken the wounds of the invasion of 1897, like I proved. One family benefited from what happened to the royal family, and the royal family was at loss. One family benefited and the other royal family was at loss, and there is a repetition of that. This Gwage Gregory must be very stupid and foolish, because you know why? If you cannot call your brother to order for misbehaving, for trying to undermine a royal institution that is over 2,000 years old, it's rather unfortunate and very foolish and stupid. Because this is not a time, like I have said, I've told people before now, those people who have kept mute should not bother to call Izoduwa, should not bother to chat up Izoduwa that I should participate in any of the program. Because right now, we are going to segregate the wheat or the corn, the corn from the chaff. The corn from the chaff. Alright? The corn, we're going to separate the corn from the chaff. Alright? Now, if anybody says, no insult, please. No insult. I don't want anybody to insult anybody. We are Benins, we have respect for our elders. We are Benins. If you don't we have respect for our elders. But we must put truth in the proper place. No insult, please. No insult. Right? Please, let's focus. Let us get the details. We must be equipped. We must get the details. Alright? The first part is this. Let's go back to the issue on ground. First, the Benin Royal Museum is an ordained divine mandate. First, the Benin Royal Museum is an ordained divine mandate. Whether it takes place in 100 years or it takes place in 500 years, it is a divine, ordained divine mandate. Whether it takes 20 years, whether it takes 50 years, if we have waited patiently for over 100 years, we will wait again in the next 2 years. Like I have said, we will lead protests in different countries. Ogagi Baku, none of those artifacts should be returned until a government. Alright? If it pushes us to the very extreme that he's pushing us, we are going to do a worldwide protest in all of these countries. Daniel return artifacts now until the next 2 years. Until the next 2 years. Like I have said, the facts are there. No one is stopping him as the governor or as the government. He has every right. Within his right, he has every single right. He has every single right to want to build any museum he wants to build. He has every right. We cannot stop him from doing that. He has every right to do that. God bless him. The more, like I said in one of my videos yesterday, the more the merrier. No one is disputing that he has every right to do that, to build whatever museum he wants to build. But let him know that the museum is building. First, he has spited us, the Benin people. He has insulted us, the Benin people. He created a committee that everybody is aware that is headed by one Igbo person. If that is not embarrassing to you as an adult person who seems himself too incapable to handle a project that has to do with the history of your land, incapable you will remain for life. How can an Igbo man head a committee that will construct an idea that has to benefit an Edo land. And a lot of these stupid people, because you belong to his family, if he was from my family and is misbehaving like this, I'll be the first person to call him out. I'll be the first person to call him out. If at this time around, people are not resigning from his government, people are not resigning from the government. Yes, just like what you people do, silence everybody. Not everybody can be silent, young man. Not everybody can be silent. Not everybody can be silent. Not everybody is under the payroll of the government. Not everybody that can be manipulated. Not everybody that you can put under your caprices. People genuinely will fight for this land. And like I told you, and like I'm telling you now, it is not a war that he will win. Mark this word. Mark this word. It is not a war that he will win. No one is anticipating for it. But he's pushing us to the extreme. He's telling us how foolish that we are. He's clamoring for properties that does not belong to him. He is nothing. He's acting like a criminal. Except he's able to prove, like I've said, I challenge everybody. I always challenge people. Except he's able to prove that those artifacts that were carted away, that were stolen, are not the properties of the Oba of Benin. Are not the properties of the Oba of Benin. The question that we ask, let him prove. Not all of those nonsense talk, those lies that they are talking about. None of those nonsense talk and those lies that they are talking about. We are talking about, let it be proven. Like they have said that the artifact belongs to the Edo people. I said, no, it doesn't belong to Edo people. Let me refresh our brain. Most of you do not know this fact that I want to tell you. Some Obas were bronze casters. Some Obas of Benin were bronze casters. One of which was one of the most distinguished bronze caster, which was Isee. Isee was a distinguished bronze caster. He was initiated into the Igun court to learn the art of bronze casting. He became a bronze caster. Now, how were the Iguneamon created? Like I have told you, I have repeated this statement several times. Iguneamon were not created by Edo people. Iguneamon was created by the Obas of Benin for the purpose of record keeping of the royal house. That is why you see most 90% or 95% of the Igun tells the story of the royal house. Tells the story of the royal house. Like I said, it was a capital crime for any Benin man to possess artifacts. What they now call artifacts. It was a capital crime for anybody to possess these priceless artworks, except be permitted by the Oba of Benin. And there were very few Edo nobles, Edo chiefs, that were privileged to have these artifacts in their respective homes. And it's less than 1%, about 0.5%. So that means 99.5% or so were artifacts that were stolen from the great-great-grandfather of the present monarch. When you steal something from someone, what is right you do? You return it to the owner. It is not as if there is no longer royal, the Benin royal house no longer exists. That is what we are begging for. Allow this artifact. There's so many Benin bloods, so many Benin people were killed for this. And one of the chief orchestrator of that was the same patriarch of this same family, whose son, in about 125 years later, is also spearheading another rebellious act against the royal family. So the royal house had been in the loss for far too long. And finally, with the prayers of our ancestors and Edo people and every Oba before the recent monarch, it's been answered. The Europeans are shivering because they understand that these things are not theirs. They wish to return it to the place at which they were carted away from. The place is the palace of the Oba of Benin and is still existing till date. What is expected is that they should come and bring it to the rightful owner. It is the rightful owner that will not tell what it should be used for. That is what we are asking. That is what we are requesting. I'm not asking for too much. The royal house haven't asked for too much. He was the one who made pledge that he was going to fund, partly support the building of the Benin Royal Museum. The news are out there in 2018. Then how come about a year later, it went 360-degree cycle and begin to do whatever that pleases him? We all know the truth because we know that there's so much money that is to accomplish. He's not interested in the artworks. So what we are asking, since you have made up your mind that you're not going to support the royal house to build this museum, beautiful, but you don't have right over these artifacts because they are not yours. For the fact that your state governor does not give you the power, the right to do the unthinkable, people, citizens of this country still have rights to possess what belongs to them. If you want to build a world-class museum, build your world-class museum and find a way to sort that for whatever you want to put in there. You cannot forcibly take what does not belong to you, what was not given. And like I said, you cannot go and meet Iguneo. I put it very clearly. Maybe you people did not understand what I said. You cannot go and meet Iguneo to produce arts for you because you're the governor. In the first place, you didn't create Iguneo. The institution that created Iguneo is not the British government institution that was created in Nigeria or that was enforced in Nigeria. It is the Benin traditional institution that created Iguneo. So Iguneo will need permission from the royal palace of the Oba of Benin before they can begin to cast bronze works, the Igbesawan. We need permission from the Oba of Benin before they can begin to carve either ivories or woods. Likewise Ubo and several other gifts. So, he spoke about the beautiful things and civilizations that the world Europeans loved. We agree. The beautiful things that the world Europeans loved. We agree about it. The beautiful things that the world civilization loved. There are so many things that he can do that doesn't have to concern the artifact. The artifact was not what was most intriguing to the Europeans. What was intriguing to the Europeans was the Great Benin Wall. Does Obaseki even know where the Great Benin Wall is located? Maybe someone should ask him. Where Benin Wall? Yeah, can a Benin Wall? Does he know the size of the Benin moat? Does he know how many Benin moat and the history behind them? He doesn't know that the Benin moat is the only UNESCO recognized site in the entire Benin Kingdom. It's the only Benin moat, and it's not fully recognized. It's under the tentative list. People should go to the UNESCO website and check. One would expect that the governor would have set up the ministry to ensure that some of these Great Wall of Benin, some of these molds are being recognized by UNESCO sites. None of the sites in the entire Edo State are being recognized by UNESCO. The only one is on the tentative list. It has not met the criteria to be fully recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And here, Ogbinaya artifact. No, when the Europeans will come from overseas, are they not going to meet the current insecurity, the current infrastructural decay? Are they not going to meet that? Why is the artifact so important and dear to him amongst everything? Like someone said, it wasn't even part of the electionary promises. Then why is he now at the front burner of his government? So one should understand that there are so many things to be suspicious of. No one is trying. The Royal House of the Oba of Benin has not undermined the state government in any way. In any way. The Royal House, the palace, has never said Obaseki does not have the right to build his museum. What the Royal House have said is that these artifacts belongs to the Royal House and it must be returned to the Royal House. What we are pleading, if you want those artifacts, go and meet the owner and speak with him and negotiate with him. If you think the museum will remove the millions of unemployed youth or the thousands of unemployed youth in Edo State, beautiful. If the museum will be the greatest legacy that you will leave behind as a former governor of Edo State, beautiful. Go and meet the owner, negotiate with him. Do not play sentiment with the people and tell the people that there is nothing wrong between you and the palace of the Oba. Everybody are not stupid. It's almost about 2 years that either him or any of his government officials went to the palace. Was the state government not writing congratulatory messages? Official congratulatory messages? I can tell you how many congratulatory messages that he has written to a lot of people in the past 1 year. None of them was addressed to the palace of the Oba of Benin. No one is saying he must do that. He has a right to do or not to do anything that he wants. Beautiful. But he shouldn't give us a mental picture that everything is alright between him and the palace. If everything is alright between him and the palace, let him go and meet the owner. Because certainly it's not. The Edo State government do not own. Amongst all of these Edo State government officials, which of them can make a bronze, can cast a bronze? Unuya meba seomo. Unuya meba kaira. Do not give them the authority to think that they own this thing. No, you don't own these things. You don't own these things. So if you want to possess, it will be a win-win situation. First, we do not recognize Edo State Museum of West African Art. First, Benin Royal Museum. Benin is a more authentic word than Edo State. And I will prove it. And I'll prove it. And I'll prove it. Benin is a more authentic word than Edo State. Some people are so historically dumb. Some section of Edo State are saying that is it the only Benin people that owns the artifact? Who was Zwa? Eruwa Selmo. Eruwa Rokpa Selmo. Wagbeo Wagbon. How many did any of your father that did not say that it will only belong to the Benin people? Did your own father make any artifact? We know that it's the concept of doing those bronze is hereditary. An outsider cannot. Very few persons, and they came from the royal family. And they came from the royal family. So any person not really tired that a debtor donya because area rockba near time area no sound of gun. No sound of gun. By nature, it is the right of the Benin people. But the context of Benin is what a lot of you people do not understand, and I want to educate you people. For some of you are very, very ignorant of our history. For some of you are very ignorant of our history. The Benin, the context of Benin is way larger than the context of Edo State. Edo State was just created in 1991. Wasn't August 26 or so, 1991, that Edo State was created. Benin has been in existence from aeons, for thousands of years. Benin is what the world recognizes us as. Not Edo State. Edo State is a geographical space that was created by the useless British system of governance. The Benins were existing before, even before Midwest was created in 1967, or before Edo State was created in 1991. But the Benins not existing before the British came in 1897. Was Benin not existing? Was there Edo State in 1897, the year that these things were carried away? Was there Edo State? Then why should Edo State now represent the same history that is way older than the state? And people don't understand that Edo State is a fragment of Benin. Benin is not inside Edo State. Edo State is inside Benin. Simple historical sense. If you decide to see yourself as Edo, who are the Edo people in the first place? Is it not even better for you to recognize yourself as Benin? Do you think Benin refers to the 7 local governments of Edo State? Do you think that's what Benin represents? Are you not saying that the Benin Empire was restricted to the present day 7 local governments of Edo State? Edo as a word was the capital city of Benin Empire. Benin Empire was a city-state. It had its own capital city. And it was called Edo. So Edo is a localized version of the international brand of Benin. Ivie Do Mahi. You cannot see Ivie Benin Mahi. I'm a Benin man. The international version, the English version. Why the local version is Edo? The Edo State people are called the Edo people. So if you say Edo State, you are restricting the history behind those artifacts. And that's what we are saying. So Benin is a name that truly identifies us. Even the context of Edo was created in the 15th century by the Oba, by Amowie the First. We already had a name called Benin before Edo came into existence. And it's also us that refers to ourselves as Iviedo. So that if you people start bringing tribalism into this, the Edo State punctuates the Edo people. But the Benin reflects every socio-cultural group, every tribal group within the sphere of the Benin influence. Common sense. When you go to Togo and you say that you are from Edo, nobody recognizes you. If you are not aware, a lot of them don't travel. A lot of them don't travel. I just came back from Port Harcourt, addressing over 14 royal majesties. Nobody calls us, refer to us as Edo people. We are referred to as Benin people. Because that's our global brand. Then why localize us to the international community who recognizes the Oba as the Oba of Benin? People think that when you address the Oba of Benin, it means that you are addressing it as Oba of Edo Senatorial District. Please, Oba is not Oba of Edo. When you call him Oba of Edo, You are restricting him. It is called Oba of Benin. We understand the influence of the old Benin Empire. And a lot of these people, we're going to be releasing quite a lot of videos. We toured, for the past 3 days, we've toured the 3 senatorial districts of River State. Where everywhere we go, all of this Royal Majesty had the picture of Oba on their various walls. Go to Togo, go to Accra, go to everywhere. You have the portraits of the Oba of Benin on the Royal Majesty's wall. How many of them outside Edo State? Outside Edo State, do you think anybody will put Oba Seki's portrait on their wall? Because of Mimafo. Because my mimi will boy They're talking about a king that has a global brand. How do I localize it? After 2 years, do you think it will still be recognized by anybody, even the idiots that are supporting him? Do you think anybody will still recognize him? Where's Lucky Benedion today? Where's Lucky Benedion today? Then you are supporting an institution of 8 years over an institution that have lasted for over 2,000 years. Is that not stupidity or in the name of modernization? Not that he's even right. He's wrong. He's clearly on the wrong. He's clearly on the wrong. That's what we're saying. He's clearly on the wrong. It's clearly very wrong. So we can no longer fold our hands for anybody to sit in their confinement because they have power. And that begins to undermine an institution. And let people be very clear. I do not speak for the palace. I speak as a patriotic Edo man. I speak as a patriotic Benin man. Not everybody has to be paid to represent an institution they so much believed in. That they are so much proud. You know why a lot of you are not proud? Because you people have not traveled. You people have not read your history. Some of our brothers have followed us and toured the 3 senatorial districts of River State. Almost cried to see how the Benin Oba is being revered or revered all over the places we've been. Then one local champion who now wants to now localize the influences of the Oba of Benin. Because my magi yen bima, because of the lalo body mamie, it is shameful. It is shameful. It is shameful that the same Benin people that will call themselves Benin people, a lot of them are still in this government. Because one man I will continue to respect for the days of my life. One man I will continue to respect. I've been speaking about him all throughout today. His name is Chief Humphrey. His name is Humphrey Omo Osaigi, the Isee of the time of Oba Kenzwa II. That Isee was a great man. That Isee was a great man. I'm not saying the present Isee isn't great. He's very old. He can do less. The John is very old. He can do less. That Isee was a great man. Yes, some people. He couldn't have been all. That Isee is a great man. Do you know why? Do you know why I said that Isee is a great man? When the Midwest was realized in the year 1967, two things were in contention. Number one, who becomes the prime minister of the Den region. Number 2. Okay, so August. Sorry, thank you. 1963. Thank you, Osunobu. 1963, August 9, 1963. Yes. Thank you, 1963. Now, 2 things were in contention. Who becomes the prime minister of the Midwest region? And where will the capital city be located? Humphrey was one of the most outstanding, aside Akenzuo II, aside Omo Akenzuo II. Humphrey was the second most outstanding Benin man. And he was projected to be the first prime minister of the newly created Midwest region. But however, if he becomes the first prime minister, the capital city will be moved to Warri province. He said no. He said no. Wherever the Obaris will the development begin from. Wherever the Oba of Benin is, will be the capital city. So he fulfilled the calling of the people over the calling of himself. He saw the patriotism, his duty to the land, over his own selfish pocket. That man is the father of Chifute Tenegiabi. That man is the father of Chifute Tenegiabi. I stand to be corrected. 99.9% of the present Edo people will have accepted to be the prime minister while the capital city moved to Warri. I stand to be corrected. I stand with my chest, with my full chest, to be corrected. These were people who were patriotic to the cause. The deed, what he did many years ago, is still being talked about today. He would have, the Edo State Government House would have become Humphrey Omo Isee House. If you don't know what I'm saying, it would have been Humphrey Omo Isee House, and not Denis Osaidebe House. In case he denied his family, he had rather remain in poverty for his people to benefit. But how many Edo people would do that in these modern times? We should ask ourselves, with all the work that modern Edo people has accumulated through divisiveness, through self-centeredness, how many of them do you think anybody will speak about in the next 100 years in good manner, or in the next 50 years in good manner, that Izoduwa is speaking about Chief Omo Isee, Chief Humphrey Omo Isee, alias B2. He was nicknamed B2. That is Benin number 2. Because Oba Akenzuo was B1. He was B2. As the Isee of Benin. So we remember him today for his love for the land and for the patriotic for the cause for the land. And I am, by this live video, calling on all other patriotic Edo people. This is not war, but this is a time for us to take a sober reflection and understand that what we are talking about is not because we hate anybody. It's not because one person gave us money. Anybody can go and do verification anywhere. It's otherwise clean, very clean. Since 2016, I don't think I've ever been to any politician's house. I say that with my full chest. Even the area we are. I'm a Benin man. Obama Kpere, Ikwane Kpere. I say that all the time so that people should know that I speak because I love my land. And not because one person is giving me 1 million or 2 million in backstage. And that's why I'm coming to vibrate. But with faith time, we'll continue to inspire people to understand that the palace is not wrong. They are trying to untwist the palace, just like they did in 1897, just like they did in 1914. We understand that from the same family, and Isee was chosen by vote. From the same family, and Isee was chosen by vote. It was chosen by vote. Chosen by vote, by vote. And your boy will do when you're Isee. It was untwisted. They are always found historically. And I can read, if anybody want to also say that if you told again, I can read from books where some of us were untwisted by this same family. One of the Isee was nominated. His name is Gaius Obaseki. He was nominated by vote. And your boy will do. He was never chosen by the Oba of Benin as Isee. So I can go on and say a lot of things, but I'm not trying to breathe on anyone. I'm trying to tell the people that enough is enough. We cannot allow one generations of people to continue to untwist the palace for their selfish reasons. For what gain? Are they the only family in Benin Kingdom? Emi no regwa. Wa ge ya vione. Emi no regwa wa ge ya vione. That's what we are asking. That's what we are asking. That's what we are asking. Whoever wants to build the museum should go ahead and build. We are not stopping that. We are not stopping that. But whatever has to be done rightly. You cannot untwist the traditional institution for your selfish reasons all the time. You cannot fight the traditional institutions because you know a particular history, some particular histories that whenever you always at loggerheads with the royal house, you always come out victorious. We are going to ensure that this time around, you don't win. This time around, you don't win. This time around, you don't win. There is an unbreaking relationship between the people and their king. If there are gaps, we will fill those gaps. And we will see how resolute we are. We will see how resolute we are. Can no longer twist every other person to remain silent, because tomorrow probably you create policies that's going to arm them economically, or probably you're going to get bulldozer to remove their houses and all of that. We can no longer be living in fear in our own land. So please and please, leave the palace alone. If you say that who spoke with palace, your boy and me tifat no can worry. That is what we're asking. We're not asking for too much. Your boy involved. So that the talent make an affo. Whatever contract, pre-contract that you have had with your European counterpart, it is none of our business. Go and settle it with them. It doesn't concern us. So you can no longer hold us responsible for what you could have done or what you didn't do. Anyway, I'm tired. I just came from travel. The only thing I want to say here in conclusion is this. The artifact belongs to the Oba of Benin. There is a divine mandate that when the artifacts will come, a museum must be built. No one is saying no one shouldn't build museum. An agreement was reached between the present-day state government and the royal house. And that agreement dated back to 2018 was it will be called Benin Royal Museum. It will be called Benin Royal Museum. Along the line, it changed. It rescinded from the agreement. So, he rescinded from the agreement that was reached. He rescinded from it, and now someone who knows the value of this act, as an art collector, as an art dealer, he completely understands so much money that is attached to this artifact. Like I've said and I keep saying, all of this shouting I've been shouting since it's just money. And now I have we want to run on the artifact today now money. On my kind of artifact. And no artifact. The way forward, the way forward. Someone asked for the way forward. In 3 days, I'm going to come online in 3 days on Tuesday, and I'm going to tell everybody the way forward. We will ensure that he doesn't win. If there are no war or there are no fight, fine. Let him build his museum if he wants to. But he cannot use the palace artifact, and he cannot use the proposed traditional site. Otegwa eni yahi. Otegwa eni yahi. Otegwa eni yahi. The Ogbe Exalted that is currently being marked. Are you aware, like I said the other, I go above Ogbe. The sacredness of the Ogbe Exalted ground. Why is he interested in everything that undermines the history of the land? First, why did he choose the old palace ground without discussing with the Oba of Benin? He completely understands some aspect of our history. Everything that he's built on doing is to undermine the palace. Why did he choose? You want to bring development? Why are you going to bring development? British has kept their old heritage site. Why is it bent on destroying our own in order to build modern structures? Amagba has a lot of free land. Ohorome has a lot of free land. You can go to Upper Sakmabo, you can go to Ekenwa. You can go to everywhere. There are so many lands and can go and be the first class Amowie there. I will come for the open ceremony. And I will invite him. The more the merrier. But why did he choose that he must destroy houses that has been there for hundreds of years? Because he wants to prove a statement that he's the state governor. That even a local government, according to these people, that even a local government can sack or can punish or can abolish a traditional ruler. A country like Nigeria that was so badly created that a nobody can undermine a traditional institution that is 2,000 or 3,000 years. Just like we can suspend traditional rulers. No one, the palace, has never at any instance, I keep saying it, undermined the power of the state government. But why is it now undermining the existence of the palace? Why is it now undermining the very history of our land? It clearly knows that Ogbe Exotic land is an historical site. It has a lot of history there. Why did he choose that place? Is another call for concerns. But however, no one is saying he shouldn't build his museum. He has all the right to build a museum. But why is he bent on tearing our old historical site in order to build new historical site? It just doesn't make sense. A lot of old cement, when you go to the city of Rome, they have kept the ancient dance of that place. Well, what is it going to? You should go and sandfill the Benin moat now in order to build another moat. He spoke about the ancient civilization. He talked about how hardworking our ancestors were. Is he going to undermine these same ancestors who were so hardworking? Who were so hardworking? So while I dete agmoya asikoko na vigwe na ya imia, not your boy my kunri, not your boy egwa kunri, and it shouldn't be giving you any idea that there is nothing wrong. That there is nothing wrong. If you say that there is nothing wrong between him and the palace, let him go to the palace. I know some idiots will also say, why can't the Oba Benin go to him? Do I is one with me who I am wine? Do I is one me who I am wine? The son goes to his father. The son goes to his father. So we know dear boy. Okay, dear boy, will not be calm. A call mind do so to okay, Mateve or the legwagui or my legwagui, so ceasefire. So let it not give you a mental picture that let it not give a mental picture that everything is right. Nothing is right. Nothing is right. Nothing is right. What are the activities in the past 2 years? Or a year plus, not almost about a year, almost 2 years now, or a year why. Even the Ministry of Art and Culture, the new commission a year why. Year do not, Jedo Central, a year why, Obano Yadu, at least they are on the ministry that is related to the history of the land, and what is expected is that they get in a rona aro. Ma on your sale, because ma on the way rovi on the bambana, on your way, in a lower donor. in Awalo Mebedona because I told him to go and fix those artworks on Ring Road, because I challenged him that you cannot be doing program in Edo Fest or Na Fest and Ring Road is littered. The guy did everything humanly possible to frustrate me. Today, Izoduwa is still here, Gidigba. I don't know where he is today. That was supposed to be an Edo man, was supposed to know better. But at least only we are here, because his father is one of the most respected chief. He's an historian. The first history book my late father, ever got from me was written by Chief Osemegero. So, why is the present Commissioner of Art and Culture, why is it not visited the Palace of the Oba of Benin, or is not important, is not needed? Why we are because you cannot undermine the palace and wants to go and be visiting the institution that the same palace created many years ago. My brother Israel Payebo. I do not, as a matter of fact, I do not know anything about government. I don't care about government. I do not know anything about government. But what we have said, the message is very clear. The message is this: the artifact belongs to the Oba of Benin. The government should stay away from it. It was not stolen from Edo State government. It was not stolen from Benin State government. It was not stolen from federal government. It was not stolen from Midwest region. It was stolen from the Benin Kingdom, who is still in existence, and the head and the leader of that Benin Kingdom is the Oba of Benin. It was stolen from his palace. It should be returned there. So you that knows everything about government, so when someone steals something from your father and is about to return it, then your Kpere or the head, or not even your Kpere, I shouldn't use that example, then one local government council or probably the chairman of the local government that you build your house will now say that that thing belongs to him. Where we make money there. Was Oshomole not the governor of Edo State when some artifacts were returned during the reign of Obaredia? Was Oshomole consulted? When those things returned directly to the Oba of Benin, Obaredia of blessed memory. So why should this case be different? Why his own case different? Why were the other past governors of Benin of Edo State not clamoring that those artifacts should be displayed before them before taken to the palace of the Oba of Benin? So I'm not interested. I don't want to know government. I'm not interested in government activities like I've always believed. But when you now want to undermine the traditional institution, then you and I will have a leg off. You and I will have a leg off. So Walao, it pains me. I never met him. I heard of his philanthropism. Late Captain Osa Okumbo. I'm sure that if he was alive, all of these wouldn't have happened. Maybe the construction of the Benin Royal Museum would have kick-started. But we are going to collectively fill that gap. Like I posted, nobody gave any Benin sons and daughters money. Obaogwola understood that we were expanding as a people. He understood that there will soon be security threat. So he called all the youth, all the able-bodied men, and told them that my children, we will start having insecurity problems because we are not expanding, we are not waging wars with our neighbors. What should we do? Let us protect the capital so that it will be difficult. It will be difficult for the enemies to penetrate into the capital. Then they started to dig the great Benin moat with the instrument that we might not even know. Hand instrument. Ancient instrument. Not machine, not all those bulldozer when they use. or these diggers when they use, they came together in unity and in the same purpose. In unity and in the same purpose. They begin to dig and dig for years and dig and dig and dig and dig. Many years later, Obayawa the first also came. Obayawa also came. The first. He said, let's dig another one. The Benins came together in the same unity and in the same purpose. They begin to dig and dig and dig. Not minding that it will be the greatest earthwork, the greatest phenomena the world, the humankind has ever experienced. The Benin mold became the greatest earthwork that the mankind has ever known. These were patriotic Edo people coming together in unity and in the same purpose. Are we not the children of those great ancestors of ours? Why can't we come together? And then the government Kpere, Amiedone, the government Kpere, Amiedone. We will come together, we'll find solutions, and we'll build our museum, and that museum will be called Benin Royal Museum. It will be called Benin Royal Museum. We will no longer allow anybody to insult us. We are not beggars. Even when he thinks less of us, he sees other tribe as more educated, as more civilized. He sees you and I as nothing. He thinks less of us as humans. He rates the Igbos over us, you and I. That is why most of the big deals and jobs, he gives it to his Igbos and Yoruba counterpart. He doesn't think good of you and I. And I'm shocked that if you for that matter, anyway, anybody will always defend the interest of his pocket. Imasuen, I'm not against it. But I will also defend my interest. This is not monetary interest. This is what we call patriotic interest. If anybody wants to criticize me, let them criticize me by that need to attack a government. You understand? Like what they will always do. That in our PC, in our woman, Izoduwa so that he can easily political. They always turn it political. But everybody knows, everybody who has followed my activities keenly, I'm driven by patriotism. I'm not driven by pockets. I'm driven by patriotism. I'm not driven by pockets. I'm driven. Obabi doesn't need to tell me anything. I'm a defender of the history of this land. That is my interest. That is the only interest. And that is what I've been defending for years. Since 2016. And have been very persistent about it. Very persistent about it. And I've coordinated myself in the manners that nobody, no politician, nobody, no big man can say that Izoduwa. No one. If there's anybody like that, let he or she come out. So if there's anybody, let he or she come out. If any of you are seeing me in the house of any politician, let he or she come out. No one am Izoduwa or we politician. In our to take a politician. One am your mana duko mana get kwa. The BB politician. Let any of you come out. Not everybody. Not everybody. Not everybody is hungry. Not everybody source of revenue comes from defending what is wrong. How can you as a man defend what is wrong? Women in one way to stand for what is right and what is true. Like I said, I'm an history teller. I'm a unifier of all great Benin descendants. The only thing that interests me is the defending the palace of the Oba of Benin. So I want to thank all of you. I want to thank all of you. May God bless all of you. In 3 or 4 days, I'm going to be out, and so that we can talk more. What is the way forward? Someone asked me for the way forward. Before I speak on the way forward, I will have to also consult, and after which we'll talk about the way forward. By our say. So always be reminded of these things. The Oba of Benin is the God that we the Benin see. Anybody who try to sever that relationship must face our hatred and our brunt. Must face our hatred. The Oba of Benin is the God that we see. Nobody can change that. Nobody can change that. We'll continue to defend the palace, because truly that is where our interest lies. Because he has always no lecture tomorrow. The lecture now for today. so anyway, we must unite. 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 We must, I'm saying it, we must unite. If we don't unite, they will win, or he will win. Because according to what people said, he doesn't even listen to anybody. So it is not wrong for we to say he will lose and we will win. Amowie can no longer be afraid in our own homes. He has the freedom to be the governor, just like we also have the freedom to be the citizen of this state, and to also be a good ambassador of the Oba of Benin. I'm just Izoduwa, an ambassador of the Oba of Benin, a self-made ambassador. A self-made. I will make you any ambassador. I'm a self-made ambassador of the Oba of Benin. So we obey him. We obey him. So let every media houses run with this. Let us speak on this matter. Let us cry. Let us speak our mind. Let us not be afraid. Any man except a man in the air not feed. Except one of feed. Feed the man. So if it's not feeding us, then why should we be afraid to speak? Knowing fully well that we are not speaking bad of him, we are only telling him the truth. Stay away from those artifacts. If you want those artifacts, go and meet the owner. Speak with him. Speak with him. So whatever you agree, don't speak to the Edo people. Don't tell us your beautiful ideas. First of all, go and tell the owner your beautiful ideas. Don't tell us. We are not the owner of the artifact. Stop speaking to us. Stop giving the position that the Edo people can't handle. to one here na show me ase ya na show no gbebo ni abi me ati oni that only do teme abi gun ni rere masa igbo ni mai na ya sabi gun e sabe mo e igbo ni maru e na do en igbon odo ateme no kan eviedo odo atani ma o ya zebo ona waistline ona waistline ona tamedo. That this is not about Benin, this is about West Africa. No zaga wagmo era we say omonia wa no detera wa ruso ma no say omon. If it's not about Benin, fine. If it's not about Benin, it shouldn't be about Benin artifact. Do I have here a bottle of Godom and snap you with the Imasuen wa born ma kaima. But what we are saying is that if not kind do, why you born you all? Stop speaking to us. We are not the owner of the. If you want to convince anybody of your novel idea, go and speak with the owner. Negotiate with him. Speak with him. Whatever he tells you, whatever agreement you reach with him, you can come out and tell us. The way that Bobone, have you heard of Bobone? Ekwemu wa. What's in your managi chiwa? Do wa headed the board of directors, I be the board of trustees. No, why the chairman? Okay. Are they not educated adult persons that is groomed in art and culture? In either they rotedo, ya bulone. This ya rotedo, we not gain ya way. There a kenana mi mafo, we ye gele, or ye settled that conscious finish. Oh, this primordial. Oh, they are ancient people. They are very primordial. Oh, they are ancient. They think they are arrogant. You don't see us that anything good can come from us. Doesn't think anything. That if Omima Fogbe, and it's a pity that Wanibuma Ewogile Mima Fogbe. Or you Mima Fo, or you mere guafu. I queer or Macbolo said why. If the British created Nigeria, it can be that powerful, but in Benin Kingdom, that has lived. The Benin Kingdom is older than the British Kingdom. The kingdom that went to create a system that we not apply and use. The Benin Kingdom itself is older, with almost about 800 years. With almost about 800 years, I had the British Kingdom. Edo had the British Kingdom. Then they bogi mogi with government or they are still respecting the Queen of England. No politician disrespect the Queen of England. Then the concept of the government that I brought to us, and I did it in a way to use it to disrespect our tradition. I'm going to be my British. If not the British who lifted us, I'm married one or do I go about attack me? When I attack me now. Call me all primordial. Someone on YouTube actually called me I'm very primitive and I cannot evolve. Leave me in my primitiveness. After all, these primitive Benin people were the first people to create a street lighting system. These same Benin primitive people built a civilization that your own fathers, your ancestors could not build. These same primitive Benin people made a lot of your ancestors their slaves. These same primitive people built the Great Benin Wall that at one point in history it was recorded to be 4 times longer than the Great Wall of China. These same primitive people, this same primitive Izoduwa, came from a line of the people who dug the Benin Moat, which is the greatest earthwork in the history of mankind. These same primitive people, this same primitive Izoduwa. So I'd rather be a primitive Izoduwa whose ancestors, who believe in the ancestors that built a civilization, than being a civilized individual like all of these people whose ancestors were lazy ass people. Otherwise, they would have been talking about their own artifacts. So that Iyanasho should go and pack all the artworks that his ancestors did in Igbo land. No pack not of the Amowie museum here, but understand. If that is primitiveness, beautiful. Civilization should not come at the detriment of I'm trying to use the right word. Civilization should not come as a result of the ilele principles, idealism, belief system of a people. Civilization shouldn't do that to them. Shouldn't allow people not to remember who they are. Civilization shouldn't do that to anybody. Civilization should not undermine an institution. Civilization shouldn't, most especially if the institution is on the path of truth and right, and is well acquainted or acquainted with its people. Civilization shouldn't do that. Civilization shouldn't do that. Walao, continue to call me very primitive. Why you are calling me primitive? Stay away from our primitive artifacts. Why you are calling us primitive? That we don't want good thing. Stay away from our primitive artifacts. Go and create your own civilized artifact and put on your civilized museum. See my primitive mess of ma. Walao. Only him and Izoduwa doing me wa. Walao. Primitive mess in my wajina or in my wawe moe. Walao. Artifact in Wasiai. Wasiai Nima. Waya West. So I'll speak I'll speak to you people very soon. So you people take care. A word is enough for the wise. A word is enough for the wise. While let nobody sweet talk you into believing that what he wants to do is so beautiful. It's going to bring development. A refinery have a seaport. Now only my view development real. How I went away with the museum as a no one. It's a beautiful idea. Let me not say it's not beautiful, but we're just saying that it should be done rightly. That's what we're standing for. Do it rightly. And nobody, I don't have any right to tell the governor not to build a museum if he wants to. But first, it should bring more tourists. I don't understand. In meditation, am I understanding in meditation? Are you saying that the Benin Royal Museum will not bring tourist attractions? Maybe you people still do not understand the cruise of the matter, and it pains me. It will bring tourist attraction to where? All our villages are insecure though. Most of all of this, I got Digwetwe, Hihiri, of your side. None of those places are inhabited. Nobody will come for any tourist attraction when it's insecure. Fees insecurity and fees all of the problem. I'm not saying state government or fees insecurity. Let insecurity be fixed first. Let the state government work with the federal government to fix insecurity first. If tourists are to come, I cannot leave now. Will Izoduwa leave now and go to Ukraine for tourist attraction? Okorewa. So there are a lot of insecurities. Let all of those things be fixed. Now, get it very clearly. No one is saying a museum is not good. I don't know why these people refuse to understand. No one is saying that the museum is not good. The museum is good. But first, the museum that we will have is called Benin Royal Museum. The museum that the state government wants to have is Amowie. I can't even pronounce that. It doesn't concern us in West Africa. It doesn't concern us with those states. It's Benin Royal Museum. Alright? That's the museum we want. Now, why do we want that? Because we are the owner of it. That's why we want it. That's why we are the ones suggesting. That's why it's not even the name. The name is stamped by God and our ancestors. The name didn't come from Obayawa II. It came from Amowie of blessed memory. Alright? Came from Oba Eredia of blessed memory, that it must be called Benin Royal Museum. So the present Oba is under an oath with his father that it must be Benin Royal Museum. Benin Royal Museum will attract tourism. Not only Amowie that can attract tourism. In short, nobody will come and see Amowie if those artifacts are not put inside Amowie. So what makes the museum what it will become will be the artifact. The world wants to see the Benin artifact. You understand? The world wants to see the Benin artifact. If the Benin artifact is not what is most important, he shouldn't have been dragging with it. He doesn't need permission from the Oba of Benin to build a museum. Let him go ahead and build. We are not against it. We are always saying that why would he destroy a cultural site, an heritage site in Amowie, in order to build another heritage site? It doesn't make sense. Because there is a sacred land. It was the old palace ground. It is the old palace ground. So, museum definitely will be built, but the context is that the museum, if the museum that will house our stolen artifact must be called Benin Royal Museum. So, Amowie, when you table, I hear they have Igboku, when the artwork in no Panguan, the men are Ilefe. If you only have a wear a Mababa artwork, would if you had to retain more Mababa, but in a way Mababa artwork, if you lay fair, would not. Then Nok, there was an ancient civilization called the Nok culture in the Benue confluence. Then I excavate, have some artwork. Then Japan or China. Then I will duplicate artwork. Chinese people, they are always good in bringing duplicates. Many of our duplicated some of our artworks. But all the artifact, the side game, all the $1 na higher viore, I have your Amowie. The only way noni higher sumu. Oba seki ori buenonya, which is the Oba of Benin. Yagi total. No nya ite geni yagwale mime. Geni yagwalo. Yagagi ladia. Oba seki to tamima. Oye gene nonya hayo. Eria hagi awe de agmoya ladia. Mokawe ladia oba seki we se bima o. We are bringing development through museum. Anything short of that is a complete badadash. The truth is that, let me tell you, no basically I have the artwork in it. Meaning I gave you the artwork you yourself. That's the truth. That's how bad it will become very soon. It will soon dawn on him. It will soon dawn on him. We have waited for over 120 years, 125 years. The worst will come to worst. We can wait again for next 2 years. If it doesn't build it, other state government will come and they will build. Is it the last? Will it be the last governor of Edo State? After him, will there not be other subsequent governor? They are going to be governor from Edo North. They are going to be governor from Edo Central. They are going to be governor from Edo South after him. They will build it. So it is not compulsory. Why is he making it compulsory that he must do this during his time? If he does not have an hidden agenda, why must he build it? Since there are already crises on this matter, one will expect, because he should come out now and tell us that basically because there was no, I was trying to build something very good for the Edo people, but because that they don't like good things, so I decided to allow it be. That is what most governments always look for excuses not to do things. So we are giving him one excuse that he magi Kpere. Magi say Kpere. When you say no managi boy, he should not use that excuse that he hunted Benin with my Kpere. Lao, that excuse is very tenable. Lao, magi Kpere where he boy or maybe a boy. They boy only my itara or do wa bo bemo wa but that artifact ejo bo we. So the only chance why I was I may be will speak soon by God's grace, and I'm very tired, but I had to do this. And we had a very fantastic sensitization tower. We visited about 14 kingdoms. We toured the 3 Central District of River State. Do you know what is most amazing? From Degema, from River South, Degema, to Central, Port Harcourt, Kpere, to North, that is Egbema. Egbema was the last place. In short, we have proof. This is a bottle of the Egbema king. I mean Igbo. The Egbema's Igbo people. So we have videos. Egbema people are not Igbo people. This is during the Royal Majesty. So some of the videos will be released where the Royal Majesty clearly stated it. So now, when you may deal with state government here, so we toured the 3 senatorial district of River State. One thing was unique. The portrait. You guys will see all of the videos and pictures. The portrait in every of the palaces has the Oba of Benin on it. Have the Oba of Benin on it. The Benins do not, because why I feel sorry for all of you. A lot of you, so not all of you, sorry, a lot of you, is that you don't know the kind of heritage, history that you have. You don't have the kind of heritage that you have. If you go to River State, if you go to Aga, you see the portrait of the Oba Benin. If you go any of these kings that traces their ancestors, you see the portrait of the Oba Benin. Outside the State, where I'm a portrait of Oba Sekia, or anybody. I beg you. So Oba talk very hard. Let me wait 3 short of King of Egbema moment.